What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the spot. We kick back and react to all kind of different things. All right, so what we got going on today? We're about to check out Zevi, great storyteller. This man, I've been following him for a while. He has a lot of great stories, and this one, intriguing. The truth about Michael Jackson. He always goes deep on some of these, and even the stories that I do know about, I'll still check him out anyway because he's just good at telling them. So let's check this out. The truth about Michael Jackson. We know they lied. He didn't touch those kids. He just let them in his house, which wasn't smart. But let's get the breakdown. Let's go.
Before social media was massive, we would all get our news from like a few select places. Our news, our media, our tabloid stuff from select news sources like TMZ. TMZ used to be huge. And because only select few media outlets dominated the circuit, there was no like counters to what they were saying. Like we had to basically take what these news media outlets said as law. And the thing is, most of it would be negative because that was a headline. All that to say, when I started making videos, when I started doing research on celebrities, doing research on stories, it shocked me how different the actual story was to the story we usually got from news outlets. Like mind blowing. A big one, the biggest shock to me in terms of story was Michael Jackson. Now, as many of you may know, Michael Jackson was alleged to have been inappropriate with, right? And growing up.
Yes. What's up, cruelsome YT? Okay. What's good?
I never quite believed it.
Rook. Perfect, Rook. All right, that's what we'll call you. All right, so
it felt like I was the only person, aside from my sister, who didn't really.
Thank you for the follow.
Actually, it was a majority of black people.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. But going to school, at least from my experience, you would hear folks saying, oh, Michael Jackson did this, Michael Jackson did that. News media, the main story is, Michael Jackson was inappropriate, Michael Jackson did this, Michael Jackson did that. But again, I didn't quite believe it as a kid because, the media, tabloids, all that. I was always a little skeptical, but I had no idea how right I was as a kid because I do a story recently about Michael.
I'll admit, I did believe it. I did believe the BS when I was younger. I didn't believe the first time. But remember, Michael Jackson got caught up twice. So the first time I didn't believe it. The second time, because for me, it's like, if you do something so many times, it's like, you must be doing something. The second time I started to believe it. But then that one came out years later. Found out that was BS too. The Michael Jackson's only problem was that he was dumb. And one thing that I tell people, I was like, unfortunately, you can get in trouble for being wrong, but you can get in trouble for being stupid as well. And oftentimes, stupid gets you in more trouble than actually being wrong. He wasn't wrong in his actions, but he was dumb to let strangers into his home because he's trying to be nice to children. His actions were questionable because it wasn't the norm, but it was nothing bad that he did. But he put himself in a position where people were able to take advantage of him. So yeah, dumb can get you in a lot of trouble, even though you really didn't do anything wrong. And that's basically what happened there. But yeah, get the details.
Jackson and the allegations. And I'm deep dive researching into this. And Menda, oh my God, this is shocking. Okay,
I feel like he's about to drop some stuff that I don't even know about this situation. So I'm ready.
It turns out it was considered a media circus. Okay. Because the media's portrayal of the events were drastically different from what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Even in movies and TV shows, they make jokes about it.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just what people...
Oh yeah, the movies and TV shows have... They've made so many jokes. There's even like a Law and Order episode based on this. It's wow, they really ran this man through the mud.
People in the cultural space think, and even to this day, videos I see about Michael Jackson that will pop up on my timeline, this and that, you see a comment saying, okay, but Michael Jackson did this, Michael Jackson. You see a lot of comments. I'm like, wow, people still believe that to this day because people don't know what happened. And
it's not even just that people don't know what happened, but even when you get your name cleared, there's going to be people who are automatically still going to believe that you're guilty regardless. Like that's one thing where in my life I've always been really careful not to get in trouble. And thankfully because of that I've never been arrested or did anything really like really in any real big trouble like that and everything. Because one thing that I know for sure, especially as a man and everything, you do something wrong, even if you didn't do it, if you got accused of it, there's always gonna be somebody or more than one somebody's out there, to be honest, that's still gonna believe wholeheartedly that you really did that. The only way they won't believe it is if you never got accused in the first place. It's wild. Like your name being cleared doesn't mean shit to a lot of people.
We get into what happened in a second.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just common, especially I think at that young age, like even like Eminem, like with his music videos, poking fun at it.
Yeah.
So it just became normal.
Well, Eminem roasted everybody. That video is still funny. I remember it did piss off Mike when it dropped, but that's M. He gets at everybody. He roasts everybody.
Yeah, so it's just a normal thought like people had. Whether people believed it, whether people didn't believe it, it was just a thing that was in the space. Michael Jackson did this, okay? But the actual reality is very quick trial. They said, okay, Michael Jackson didn't do it. Moving on.
It was a criminal trial, right?
No. I believe
The
it.
first one.
Okay, so there was a few trials, okay? And we're going to get into that in a second. But
If I remember correctly, the first one he settled because he just wanted to get it out the way. And that was the biggest mistake. You shouldn't have settled. You should have fought it tooth and nail. He didn't want to. He was trying to make the thing to disappear as quickly as possible, and that was just the wrong move. He settled, and then I feel like that's what inflated the second case that happened, and other cases apparently that he's about to talk about here. Because once you settle, that 40 million, man, that's to any other scammer that looks like a payday waiting to happen. You never settle when people try to scam you. Never. If you know you're innocent, you fight tooth and nail for your innocence.
first trial that happened was from a family called the Chandler family, okay? Now, to keep things brief, 3 members of the family: dad, mom, son, okay? Michael Jackson is going to rent a car. He happens to meet this Chandler family. He strikes up a bond with the son. The dad says, yo, Michael Jackson talking to my son, all that, that's a little weird. Okay, fine, sure. If he thinks that's weird, absolutely fair, okay? Now, out of nowhere, Dad Chandler says, Michael Jackson is being inappropriate towards my son. I'm suing Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson says, okay, bring it on. I didn't do anything at all. Now, the son then comes out and says, my dad is right. My dad is correct. Michael Jackson was wilding. Now, for this trial specifically, I'm not going to get too into it because I want to get to the second trial. But for this,
basically, he coached his son to lie. And you see that happen so many times with parents who do that. Parents who are looking to scam train their kids to be scammers like them. It happens so much.
This trial specifically, there was no evidence of Michael Jackson doing any wrongdoing. The FBI looks into it and they didn't find anything. And as you're going to see when we start getting into the second trial, the Chandler family, the family involved in this, really seemed regretful of bringing up this trial towards Michael Jackson. Now, Michael Jackson pays the Chandler family $23 million.
Jesus Christ.
$23 million, right?
Ooh, yeah. If that's what came before the 40 million thing, whoo, yeah. He put a target on his own back. Again, you didn't do anything wrong, but you did something real dumb.
And he did this because he had a tour coming up. And his team comes up to him and says, look, Michael, you're rich. Pay the settlement. Do not get into this whole long legal battle. It's the longer it goes, the worse you're looking. You're going to lose more money in the long run. In fact, they had to cancel his tour. And that's hundreds of millions, you know. So they're like, you might as well just pay the family. We make money by doing another tour. Michael says, all right, fine. He says he regrets
big mistake
this decision to
yes
not fight the case.
And I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did because of the aftermath. Again, if you have the money, because I understand people who aren't rich, you know, you don't have the money, you're in a bad spot. But in Michael Jackson's case, he had the money. You have the money, you fight tooth and nail. You know, And you know you're gonna have people be like, oh well, he uses his lawyers. But you have to understand there's people who's gonna hate you either way when this kind of stuff happens. There's certain people that you can't win with. So screw him. Do what you need to do. I would have never I would have fought.
Because moving on to the second trial. The second trial was brought up by the Arvizo family. Now, this trial was the popular one. This is the trial that was all over the news outlets, going wild, going crazy, right? And it started because the Arvizo family, we're going to call it Mom and Son Arvizo to keep it simple, okay? Mom Arvizo says, hey, my son has cancer. And what he really wants to do is meet Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is all about the kids. So Michael Jackson says, yeah, absolutely. I would love to meet your son. Chris Tucker goes over to Michael Jackson before Michael Jackson meets the Arvizo family. Chris Tucker says, yo, this family, really shifty, really shady. They said they wanted to meet me before. I didn't like how they were moving. So Michael Jackson says, okay, gotcha. Chris Tucker, fun fact, Michael Jackson were very, very close friends. So Michael Jackson, very suspicious of the family, but they pull up and they seem really nice, really chill. They hang out with Michael. Everybody has a super good time. Enter this dude named Martin. He's a film creator. He says, Michael, I want to make a little documentary about you, hanging out at your crib, like what it's like and all that. Michael says, for sure, come through. Martin goes over and he starts asking Michael about kids. He says, you know, Michael, you really love kids, all that. Michael says, yeah, I love kids. Like, they sleep in my room. Like, they be chilling, having a great time. Martin says, they sleep in your room? Michael says, yeah. They come through, sleep in my room. Like, no big deal. That's where the documentary cuts off. Michael then says right after that, but it's no big deal. Like, I be sleeping on the floor. I have adults there. Like, it's.
And I think people need to understand the context when you're somebody who's as rich as Michael Jackson. You understand how many people can fit in Michael Jackson's bedroom? Like, when you hear they sleep in my room, you think of your bedroom. That's what most commonly comes to mind, right? And so you're thinking, oh, they're all sleep on the same bed because it's one bedroom. You have to remember how rich the rich are and what they have. You know what I'm saying? Michael's bedroom was massive. Michael's bedroom was like an apartment all unto itself. So he could have had a whole party in that bedroom by itself, you know? But again, like I go back to, he didn't do nothing wrong, but he did do something really stupid. And then ranting about kids, and it didn't click in his brain, like talking about kids sleep in my room, what people would really think about that. And it's understandable because for him, you know, bedrooms were this big for him since he blew up as a kid. So to him, I know he wasn't thinking about the size of the average person's bedroom and how people would actually like visualize that statement. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, another situation of, yeah, you was really saying the wrong stuff. You was really making yourself look really bad.
Nothing like too crazy. Martin cuts that part out of the documentary. He releases the documentary, Michael saying, yeah, I sleep with the kids. Like, I be sleeping and they be sharing rooms with me. It's a great...
and I sleep with the kids is terrible. It's terrible to say that. You don't want to say that in the interview. You don't want to say that out in public, period. That's not a sentence you blurt out because everybody's going to run with that in the most negative way possible.
Right? So everyone around the world started going, yo, what's up with Michael? He had an allegation. In the 90s, he paid $23 million to those folks. Now he's still sleeping in the same room with kids. What's going on with Michael? So people start getting a little sus of Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson does an interview saying, yo, no. He took that out of context. The video creator took that out of context. Like, I be sleeping in the same room with them, but like, you know, we just be hanging out. Like, they be in the bed. Like, I be sleeping on the floor. All good. People said, nah, Michael, you weird. Okay. But the interesting thing is, before the Arvizo family decided to attack, they were in the documentary and they were singing Michael's praises. They said, yo, Michael's a great dude. He's actually really, really nice.
They smelled opportunity and decided to go for it.
So it seemed like, let's go back a little bit. It seemed like the Arvizo family wanted to hang out with Michael for shady reasons. See if they can get cash from him, saying the kid had cancer, all that. They hang out with Michael. See that he's actually a pretty chill dude. They just go home. The documentary comes out, and Arvizo family jumps in to defend him. They say, no. Michael Jackson, really chill dude, really chill guy. The police go over to the Arvizo family. They say, are you sure he's really chill? Because people are really sussing Michael. We're looking into it and all that. Arvizo's family said, we was there at his crib. He was really chill. Y'all better leave him alone. The police said, the last family who sued him got $23 million. Arvizo family said, okay, so Michael Jackson did this, that,
Yep.
and the third.
Oh, get a job.
Lock him up. Lock him up.
For real. It is so quick. They flip on you so quick. As soon as they see a possible payday, they flip on you so quick. Man, it's sad. That's why it's like, even for, because you think about how big Michael Jackson is, but people will do this with small people too. If you're a big YouTuber, because being a big YouTuber is nowhere near, not even a blip on Michael Jackson's status, you know? But even just being a big YouTuber, you got to be careful, because people will try to get at you. People will try to do stuff to you. People will try to fuck you over and ruin your life just so they can get that big payday out of you. Sometimes you ain't even got a big payday to give. If they perceive that there's a big payday there, they'll still do it. It's crazy. You got to be careful.
The Arvizo family flips instantly. Now, this trial was a criminal trial by the police. They needed the Arvizo family's help. So basically it goes, okay, police say, Arvizo family, you guys give us the details. You guys testify in trial that Michael Jackson did this, that, and the third. We lock Michael Jackson up, and that's going to make it easier for you to sue Michael Jackson and get your settlement, basically, okay?
Get a job.
Woo, Lord,
I love the sister. Get a job. Like, for real. Like, for real. And I've never understood that. We all want a big payday, but is it really worth completely ruining somebody who never hurt you? I'm sorry, I got morals. Like, I couldn't do that. But not everybody has morals, unfortunately.
Son Arvizo comes out and says, yo, Michael Jackson did this, that, and the third. Michael Jackson said,
again, being coached. Being coached. Keep doing pop-ups on both sides. Let me put myself over here. Being coached. That's exactly what that is.
oh, word? This time we going to trial for real. Michael Jackson said he completely regrets paying the settlement. For the first trial, he said never again. Second trial, yeah, you're going to have to prove that. But the police were on his ass. The police were on Michael Jackson's ass because how the media was portraying it so far. Okay, Michael Jackson, he had these first allegations. Now these second allegations coming out. The police are like, okay, we need a conviction. The public wants a conviction. We need a conviction. FBI does their own research on the side. They say, okay, Michael Jackson, it really seemed like he's not doing anything. It really seemed like they're trying to get money from him. The police look at the FBI. They said, no, chill. We got this. We got this one. Now, real quick, let's go back to the first trial real quick. The Chandler family, okay? After they won their lawsuit, the police came over to the Chandler family. They said, okay, now we want to open a criminal trial against Michael Jackson. You guys got a settlement for your civil trial for suing Michael Jackson. The police said, now we want to do a criminal trial. The Chandler
And it's
family
crazy
said,
they came at him so hard.
Michael Jackson actually pretty chill. We're not helping y'all out. They got their money. They dipped.
They are in Dubai.
They are in Dubai. They left. But separately, because the son Chandler, emancipates himself from the family. People speculate that since the dad probably forced him to say what he said about Michael, he emancipates himself from the family. He like, I don't want nothing to do with y'all. We'll talk about Dad Chandler and Mom Chandler in a second. But jumping back to the second trial, to the Arvizo family. You keeping up so far? Amanda, make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
I just hate the story, so I'm like,
okay. So the police bring Michael Jackson in, and the media is going crazy. Michael Jackson arrested for this, that, and that. Michael Jackson arrested, inappropriate, this, that. It is blowing up. But then the trial actually starts, and the police have no evidence. We have the Arvizo family. So they said, okay, Arvizos, y'all got to make this look real good. They said, we got you. Right?
y'all want to make it work?
We got you. Right? The mom goes up. She says, look, let me keep it simple for y'all. Michael Jackson kept us in his house and he didn't let us leave for months. And remember, kids, if you're going to tell a big lie, you might want to have all your facts straight.
For real.
Maybe keep your lies really soft. My sister taught me that a long time ago growing up. If you're going to lie,
Keep them small with a little bit of truth.
keep them small with a little bit of truth, okay? She said, Michael Jackson kept me and my family in the crib for months. Michael Jackson's lawyer said, okay, this is an easy one. They said, she said months from about January to August. She said, that sounds about right. Yeah. They said, okay, so it says here in July, you went to the store. February, you got your car fixed. March, you got your nails done. When were you in the house? She said, let me see that transcript. I said, that's right here. Here are the receipts and all that. She said,
What did you not have?
She said, okay. Nah, ain't no.
And what these idiots fail to realize is that you're not allowed to just go into the courtroom and just blurt shit out. There's a thing called cross-reference for a reason, and the lawyers can't hide information from each other. They have to be in communication so that whoever one lawyer is going to bring in, the other lawyer can prepare for. So they was all prepared to, like, you told that line. It was like, okay, well, you was here. So, oh man, yeah, don't try to lie in court.
I was shocked reading this. I had to triple check this. I said, ain't no way. They caught her in a straight up lie. No recourse, nothing to say. She just said, oh, well, damn. Tell me on that one, right? And I said, okay, hold on. Let me just keep going in. They must have some sort of details here. There must be some leg of truth because I'm thinking how the media is covering this. This must be debatable. This conversation must be debatable. Like, they go over to the Sun Arvizo. They said, Michael Jackson did all those things. He said, yes, Michael Jackson did. I was at his crib. When my mom said I was at the crib, they said, son, we're asking you. He said, he was basically looking at his mom.
Did he? Is that in like the actual transcript of the court case? Did he really say that? Oh man, I mean, he be like Zevi be joking sometimes and putting extras on it just for the laughs of the moving the story along. But I'm like, people are dumb, There's people who are so stupid in this world. So, like, I feel like there's a chance he really said it like that.
For answers, all that. His story was very, very, very inconsistent throughout the trial. He kept screwing up what sounded like a story that was given to him.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll put that to the side again for now. Let's go back again.
I know the mom was irritated.
No, she was pissed. I bet she was pissed.
She messed up her own story. She couldn't even do, like, don't get mad at yourself for messing up the story. You couldn't even get your job done.
Let's go back again to the first family, the Chandler family, because they wanted to bring them in for this second trial. The son said, I'm not testifying against Michael Jackson. They said, we need you to do it by force. He fled the country. He said, I'm gone. Y'all not going to make me testify, right? The dad said, no, I got my cash. I'm good. The mom pulls up. They thought they had a star witness. The prosecution said, okay, cool. They got the money for Michael. She about to snitch him out. The prosecution brings her up. They sit her down. They said, Michael Jackson did all them things to your son, the Chandler son, right? She said, no.
Oh, what?
Shocked the courtroom. She said, no, I don't think he did.
She decided to be a good person? She decided to stand by her morals and tell the truth? I'm shocked. Round of applause for the lady.
I don't think he did. I think he was just chilling. I don't think he did all that. Can I go? The prosecution said, oh, yes.
Sure.
She leaves. Celebrities pull up. Chris Tucker says that story I said in the beginning. He said, yeah, I went to Michael Jackson. I told him, do not mess with the RYUDO'S family. They seemed like they was trying to extort me for cash. Jay Leno pulls up. He says, yeah, they were saying the same thing to me as well. George Lopez pulls up. He's a comedian.
They're over here just scouting different celebrities to try to scam. See, man, that's what I'm telling you. It's wild out there. The more successful you are, man, you got to be careful. Snakes are everywhere.
He says, boy, how long has that kid had cancer?
Dang.
He said they done said they had cancer. Can I get some money over and over and over again? The RYUDO'S family, their friends pull up, snitch them out. Matter of fact, it's her coworkers, the Mama RB.
And when I think about stuff like this, it frustrates me because I know that there are celebrities out there. Not everybody, of course, but I know that there's people out there that really genuinely want to be good and do stuff for people. And because those people exist, because they exist, you have these shitheads who try to take advantage of them. And that's why people who do charity work and everything is always in some kind of really contained environment. They're not just out there willy-nilly helping people. They're always doing it through programs and through groups and stuff like that. Because, yeah, you got to make sure everything is on the up and up because these people are scammers. They're terrible.
Those coworkers, they pull up, they said, yeah, she just snitched herself out. We was in the water cooler chilling. She said, yeah, man, I be telling all these celebrities my son got cancer. And he does have cancer.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a plot twist.
Turns out he does have cancer, but his cancer treatments are paid for completely by insurance. Now, this is what she said. She said her son had cancer and they're paid for by insurance. But
a non-struggling family pretending to be a struggling family, trying to get celebrities to give them money.
Be scamming people. But I do believe he did have cancer, but it was it was in remission and he was chilling. Now, regardless, celebrities didn't know it was in remission, didn't know it was paid for, so it's pretty much a scam. Now, all this to say, it's pretty cut and dry that the family seems to be extorting Michael Jackson, right? Well, that's the same thing the jury thought. They walked in, they walked out. They said, not guilty. Media says, facts.
The media says the exact opposite. The media still trashes him. The media is still trashing him to this very day. That's what's so sad. It's like anytime they're talking about Michael Jackson in the media, they're still being very negative. They're still throwing stuff out there. And he's not even with us anymore. It's terrible.
They said not to guilty. Well, guilty in the word not guilty. So what if we just, they spun it. They said, yo, Michael Jackson, we're not going to say he guilty, not guilty, but we just going to say that trial was pretty crazy, huh? Michael Jackson, y'all might want to still watch out for him. They did not cover the facts at all. They did not say what happened during the trial because that would have, made it look like Michael Jackson's innocent and the story's gone.
That didn't sell papers.
That don't sell papers. Yeah, the story's gone. They needed to milk this for as much.
Drama sells papers, and they wanted the bag.
Shock Michael Jackson. He seemed like a dude who actually just wanted to see the good in the world. That's what I think personally. Doing all this research, for the story, I thought anybody, all I needed to hear personally was somebody sit in front of a camera and say, "Yeah, I sleep in the same room as kids." I just needed to hear that. Because I feel like somebody who can openly say that, to a documentary, to a camera, and is okay with the world hearing that, thinks that the world will understand what he understands, right? Macaulay Culkin said it himself. Macaulay Culkin and Michael Jackson were close. Macaulay Culkin himself, during an interview, it was with, what's his name? What's that dude who be having that raspy voice? And he older. He looked old for years. He looked old for decades. He had glasses. Oh, Larry King.
Larry King. It's so true. Larry King been old since forever. He was born old. I've never seen a young photo of Larry King.
Hater.
I don't know.
All right, let's just move on before we get sidetracked. Larry King is interviewing Macaulay Culkin. He says, you and Michael was close ever since you was a kid. Macaulay, was Michael ever inappropriate? Macaulay says, boy, if you don't, I hate that question. Larry King said, chill, little bro, chill. Macaulay Culkin says he gets asked that question so often. He says, look, Michael Jackson was super chill, really cool dude, just gave him advice. They hung out. He said Michael Jackson was basically a child at heart. He was very innocent. And he said, too innocent for the world, it seems. Because he said, innocent to a point of, I might be adding this word to naivety, innocent to a point of thinking that you can say certain things, but the real world is going to, demolish you for saying that. Okay.
And I can see that.
So yeah, anybody again who goes over to a documentary and says that openly, I feel like it's just a dude who really thinks the world is going to take him at face value.
Absolutely. Any intelligent person would be like, if he's that open in the statement, then it's probably not what you're thinking, your first gut reaction is. But most of the world isn't thinking like that. They're thinking, he said what? He did what? That's and then they jump on that. Again, he did nothing wrong, but he did do something very stupid. To his credit, very naive. He, like Macaulay Culkin said, he thought the world was a better place than what it really is. He thought people were more understanding than what they really were. Because Michael Jackson in his career lived mostly in a bubble, unfortunately, for him. So, yeah, when reality hit him, it hit him in the worst way. People being deceptive, people being liars. It's a sad story, really.
Yeah, you can hear in his music too. He can be very innocent. There's a song where he's literally, because Peter Pan was one of his favorite characters.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so he just didn't want to ever grow up because did he have a childhood? No, he didn't have a childhood.
Oh, I see. That's very interesting. Well,
that's very true.
Of Neverland, right? Neverland Ranch was the name of his home, and he never went back. After that trial, he never stepped foot in Neverland Ranch again.
Because they ruined it for him, man. Pain, of everything that happened. I get it.
He felt it was tainted. And after Michael passed, shortly after, the Chandler dad, he himself. I don't know if those two instances are related, but people speculate that they are, because Michael Jackson, for those that don't know, passed from an overdose. And it seemed like a lot of things in his life really, really pushed him towards the path of drugs. Maybe Chandler dad felt pretty guilty, and he himself. But yeah, man, all this to say, again, it shocked me when I went deeper into the story. It really dawned on me that, wow, the media would really just spin a story, and that's what we see, and that's what we believe. It's crazy. It makes me feel like
saying anything.
They just be saying anything. It makes me feel like I gotta go back and go back through the catalogs of my mind, figure out every single story that I've ever been told by the news, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not only the Michael Jackson story. That's just the most shocking to me, how different it was than how the media portrayed it. But it's many stories that I'm doing stuff on. I'm thinking, okay, I know details about the story, but let me just double check that. And it turns out it's something completely different. It's crazy, crazy stuff.
It is because, again, for the media, they're a business at the end of the day, and their business model is to make money. Just like any other business, make money. That's what they're focused on. That's what they care about the most over anything and everything. So they don't care about telling a good story. I mean, just look at how they were dragging Johnny Depp through the mud, before he was able to clear his name and everything. Thankfully, he was able to. But they were dragging him hard, And so you got to take the media with a huge grain of salt, because they're deceptive. They're very deceptive. They want to sell a story. They only care about the truth if the truth is nice and juicy. If it doesn't have enough juice, they need to add some juice to it. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much how they operate. But yeah, the Michael Jackson story. Now, I was wrong about the 40 million. It was 29 million. Close enough though. Close enough. Or 24, whichever one he said. But even still, that is wild. Again, if you're in that position and people accuse you of something and you know for sure you're innocent and you didn't do that, you fight tooth and nail. You fight tooth and nail, because, man, settling, that makes people believe you really did it. That's how people perceive settling. They perceive it as, oh, you did it, but instead you're just going to give them this money so that they go away. That's how people perceive a settlement. Never settle. Never settle. But all right, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought about this one. Let me know what you'd like to see me react to next. Hit that like button before you go. Share this video with everyone you know. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you really feel like supporting this platform, consider joining our Patreon. All right? So, till next time, take care of yourselves. And I'm out of here.